Have you ever been in a spot where you thought, I need to change this? I need to change my health. I need to change my job. I need to change my relationship. I need to change how I'm dealing with my money. And yet day after day, you're doing the same things that got you into the situation that you're in. And yet day after day, you're also saying to yourself, this has got to change. I can't keep spending my life this way. Have you said that to yourself? In today's video, I'm going to give you 10 of the most inspirational quotes that will actually help you get a move on rebuilding your life. More than that, not only will they inspire you to really go after what you want in life and to rebuild the things that need to be rebuilt, they're going to get you to start taking action today. Hi, I'm Cassandra Vaughn. This is Cassandra Vaughn TV, a life redesign channel for women in their 30s, 40s, and 50s who are ready to rebuild their minds, redesign their lives, and reestablish their powerful sense of self-worth. If you're a woman in your 30s, 40s, or 50s and you are ready to rebuild your life, meaning you are ready to put on your crown, to reclaim your throne, and to rule your kingdom, click subscribe and click the bell, and you'll be alerted every time there's a new video, and they'll all relate to you. I love quotes. In fact, the reason I'm a Pinterest addict is because of all of the quotes that I have found that have literally changed the game for my mindset just with reading them on Pinterest. And that's also why with every book that I write, from The Year of You to New Year, New Mindset to 10 Things Brilliant Women Do That Other Women Won't, every single book that I write, I put a quote at the top of each chapter. Now you might be saying, well, why? What is the power of a quote? Because in my own life and in other people's lives, I've seen that the right quote delivered at the right time literally can transform your life, literally. With that being said, I'm about to give you 10 of the most powerful quotes on the planet right now. They will stir your spirit and reinvigorate your drive. Here are 10 quotes that will inspire you to rebuild your life. Quote number 1, where you are is not who you are. Quote number 1 is a game changer. Where you are is not who you are. And you know what? It's so easy to forget that when you're in the middle of life storms and emotional gut punches, and you've been going through something for days, weeks, months, years, decades. It's hard to convince yourself that where you are is not who you are. But when you think about this quote, remember the truth of it. You are not your circumstances. And where you are, even if you've been there for decades, is temporary unless you make it permanent. Where you are is not who you are. Now, comment below if you struggle with this, if you struggle with being in a season of your life that's totally uncomfortable and not good, and you've just gotten to the place where you've started feeling like maybe where I am is who I am. Comment below and tell me, what is the hardest thing for you when it comes to really living this quote? Where you are is not who you are. What do you struggle with most about disconnecting from this idea that what you're going through is who you are? Comment below and tell me. Quote number 2, your current situation is giving you an opportunity to reevaluate what you want. Quote number 2, your current situation is giving you an opportunity to evaluate what you want. Now, so often we get into current temporary circumstances and it's not fun and we don't like where we are and we feel super stuck and we're kind of pissed that we're stuck. And so we get stuck on focusing on the details of the current situation that we absolutely don't want, don't like, really wish would go away. You're missing the gold on that one. What if instead of looking at whatever is going on in your life right now as something to push away, something to resist, something to get it over with, so to speak, you actually said, my current situation is actually giving me an opportunity to reevaluate what I want. Meaning, no choice is final. Meaning, I can do this whole thing differently. Meaning, this thing that I don't like, this thing that I don't want, now I get to evaluate what is it that I do want? What is it that I do need? And how am I going to choose differently so that this result doesn't keep coming back to me? So your current situation, whatever it is, however hard it may be, it is giving you an opportunity to reevaluate what you want. Don't focus on the current situation that sucks. Focus on your ability to reevaluate. A, is this what I want? And B, if this is not what I want, what do I want? And C, when I know what I want, what am I going to do to take at least one step today to get me closer to that? Quote number 3, whatever you are not changing, you are choosing. So quote number 3 is a really, when I say it rams me every time I think about it. It's one of those that I'll call it a get real quote, because quote number 3 says, whatever you are not changing, you are choosing. Let me say that again. Whatever you are not changing, you are choosing. So let's just sit with that for a second, because one of the key pieces to rebuilding your life comes with owning everything in your life. You know, one of my favorite books that I've written is called Own It. The one thing that will change everything in your life, because it is the one thing that will change everything in your life. When I wrote Own It, it was because I was in a moment in my life where I wasn't owning my own shit. I wanted to have a get it together talk with myself about own it. And so I wrote Own It because I wanted to not only share the get together talk that I had with myself, but I wanted other people to have this same get it together talk with themselves. And so this quote, when it says, whatever you are not changing, you are choosing, I want you to sit with that. Because let's be very clear about something. Not making a decision is a decision. Choosing to sit in a stuck place, not doing the daily massive action that you need to do, not making serious choices about things that you know need to change, not moving your life forward and just sitting with but I don't know. Listen, we all don't know. Nobody has a clue. Now, people can lie to you and tell you they all have a clue and they know exactly what they need to do next and second and third. They don't. They're guessing just like everybody else. So, with this quote, whatever you are not changing, you are choosing. What that means is you need to take a serious look at your life and you need to say, I know I've wanted to change A, but if I'm continuing every single day to wake up and not change A, then the decision I'm really making is to keep A. Do you really want to keep A? Because if you don't, then you need to remember this quote, whatever you are not changing, you are choosing. And listen, we all struggle with it. So if you're struggling with this, if you know there are things in your life, the way you eat, the way you move, who you're friends with, if you know there are stuff in your life that you know you need to change, but you haven't been able to change, if you're struggling with that, comment below and tell me, what is the biggest thing right now that you know you need to change? You've known for years you've needed to change, but you are not changing. Tell me what that is in the comment below, and then tell me what is one small thing you can do to begin to change that now. One small thing. Quote number 4, you're always one decision away from a totally different life. So quote number 4 is one of my favorite quotes, and it's a quote by Mark Batterson. You're always one decision away from a totally different life. Now, it comes out of this amazing book, The Circle Maker. The Circle Maker, and it probably looks backwards, but The Circle Maker by Mark Batterson. Mark Batterson is a pastor, and even if you're not religious, this book is worth a read because it really speaks to what he says in the book. You're always one decision away from a totally different life. And here's the thing, our decisions can either empower us or disempower us. It can help us rebuild our lives, or it can help us destroy our lives. And so with this quote, when you think about it, you're always one decision away from a totally different life. I want you to remember that, not just in the sense of the big life decisions, but in the sense of the everyday small life decisions. You know, there's so many people who wake up one day and they go, well, how did I get diabetes? And how do I have heart disease? And how do I have all of these illnesses? And, you know, some of it might be hereditary, but if you know anything about epigenetics, so much of the disease that we now have is lifestyle. It's choices we made day in and day out about what we ate or didn't eat, how much water we drank, how much sleep we got. So I want you to think about this quote. You're always one decision away from a totally different life with your moment by moment, everyday decisions, because every choice you make every single day is leading you to a totally different life. Now, the question is the life that your daily choices are taking you to, is that really the life you want? Is that really the life you want? Think about it as you make your daily choices. Also, if you're struggling with self-sabotage, if you're struggling because you know you are making daily choices that are not taking you to the totally different life you want, I want you to comment below and tell me, what is causing the self-sabotage? What is causing you to make daily decisions that are not taking you to the totally different life that you want? Comment below and tell me, what is that self-sabotage struggle? Quote number 5. How long they choose to love you will never be your decision. If you've ever been broken up with, quote number 5 is a hard one. It's a hard pill to swallow, because quote number 5 is so true. And if you've ever gone through heartbreak where you didn't want the relationship to end, it wasn't your decision, you get what this means. And so when quote number 5 says, how long they choose to love you will never be your decision, that hurts. You know, how long they choose to love you will never be your decision. You know what really hurts about this quote? It's that it's not just about romantic relationships. When I first read that, how long they choose to love you will never be your decision, the first thing that popped into my mind was relationships. But it's all relationships. How long a company chooses to love you and keep you on staff will never be your decision. How long your children, when they grow up, choose to love you will never be your decision. How long your family members, your siblings choose to love you will never be your decision. And so the more that you think about it, you know, when you're growing up, you think love is this like all or nothing, I can get people to love me kind of thing. And the beauty of this quote is that it tells you the truth, you know? And why this quote, how long they choose to love you will never be your decision, why this is so inspiring in terms of rebuilding your life, is this quote reminds you that you cannot build your life on the foundation of whether somebody else loves you or not, because that will never be your decision. That will never be your decision whether they love you, whether they continue to love you. The only foundation upon which you need to rebuild your life is, how much do I love me? How much do I love me? How much do I respect myself? How much do I value me? How well do I treat myself? That's a foundation you can rebuild your life on. But this whole thing of building your life or rebuilding your life on who loves you or who doesn't love you or how long, listen, how long they choose to love you will never be your decision. Never. So don't build or rebuild your life on the basis of who loves you, because they're free to change their minds. And you know what? You're free to change your mind about whoever you love as well. Quote number 6, repeat after me. That was my last year of tolerating less than I deserve. Quote number 6 is pretty straightforward. Repeat after me. That was the last year of tolerating less than I deserve. So I hope that quote inspires you. I hope it inspires you to really look at what you're tolerating in your life. How are you teaching other people how to treat you? Because the moment you say, line in the sand, this is where the buck stops, I will no longer accept and tolerate this, and that, and then you hold your guns and stick to that, then you change your entire life. You rebuild your boundaries, you rebuild your standards, and then your whole life starts to change. But until you start to expect and accept more, you will continue to settle for less. So I want you to really think about this quote. Repeat after me. That was the last year of tolerating less than I deserve. And then I want you to comment below and I want you to tell me, what's one thing that you are saying this quote to? What's one thing in your life, one issue, one standard, one thing you've been tolerating that you are now going to apply this quote to, and you are saying, that was the last year of tolerating that particular thing. Comment below and tell me what's one thing you're ready to say that to. Quote number 7. She wasn't looking for a knight. She was looking for a sword. This has to be one of my favorite quotes by Atticus. If you haven't looked up Atticus, who writes books of poetic thoughts, but heavy hitting thoughts, you need to check out Atticus, especially on Instagram and on Pinterest. So the quote says, "She wasn't looking for a knight. She was looking for a sword." Let me say that again, because the quote is just too good. It's too good. She wasn't looking for a knight. She was looking for a sword. And here's the thing about this. This is why this one quote, whether you're a woman, a man, whatever, it will inspire you to rebuild your life, because the moment you get that you are the only requirement needed to change the game on your life, to level up in your life, then you take all your power back. Then you take, and here's the other piece. You know, when the quote says, "She wasn't looking for a knight, she was looking for a sword," here's the truth that that quote brings. The only person who can save you is you. The only person. And I know you think, well, I need help from this person and that person and my family helps me. No, I'm not talking about help, right? That's why she said she wasn't looking for a knight. She was looking for a sword, because with a sword, she could save herself. And that's the reality when it comes to any aspect of our lives, to rebuilding our lives. The only person who is ever going to be able to save you from anything and everything is you. Quote number 8. "You not wanting me was the beginning of me wanting myself. Thank you." Quote number 8. If this is not one of the keys to self-love, I don't know what is. And quote number 8 once again says, "You not wanting me was the beginning of me wanting myself. Thank you." Thank you. You know, it reminds me of Ariana Grande's song, Thank You Next. Thank you next. Because so often we take rejection so personally, when if you really wanted to use the idea behind this quote to rebuild your life, you would see that rejection is redirection, both on an external level, meaning who you're interacting with, but also on an internal level, because anytime somebody else rejects you, it's also a call for love, for you to love yourself more. So I love this quote. "You not wanting me was the beginning of me wanting myself. Thank you." Next time you get rejected, just do either use this quote, or you know what I do in very straightforward ways is I'll go, "Thank you next. Thank you next." And so I want you to think about a recent rejection that you've had. And I want you to comment below and tell me, how could you use that rejection that probably at the time felt really awful and redirect it in this way? "You not wanting me was the beginning of me wanting myself. Thank you." What can you do to reframe that rejection in your mind, to turn it around, to use it to love yourself more? Comment below and tell me how you're going to make that shift. Quote number 9. "Nothing happens until something moves." This is definitely my favorite quote from Albert Einstein. He has a lot of quotes that are really, for somebody who was, I think, a physicist or whatever he was, but a scientist, he has a lot of truth bombs that he has dropped over the course of his lifetime. But Albert Einstein said, "Nothing happens until something moves." This is not just physics. Nothing happens until something moves. And here's the thing, doing nothing about rebuilding your life, doing nothing about moving your life forward, is choosing to stay where you are. That's the bottom line of this quote. This quote will remind you that so long as you continue to do nothing, you will continue to get nothing, and you will continue to stay exactly where you are. And so I love this quote, "Nothing happens until something moves." Because when you get stagnant, when you start to feel like you're not making any progress, say this to yourself. Nothing happens until something moves, and then get up and move. Get up and take one move, one action, because rebuilding your life isn't something that you say, "Okay, today I'm going to rebuild my life," and then your life is rebuilt. Rebuilding your life is a daily, moment by moment, week by week, month by month, year by year process, and it takes the time it takes. So this quote is super powerful to get your momentum going when you are not using your momentum. Nothing happens until something moves. Now, I want you to comment below. Let's get this thing moving. I want you to comment below and tell me what's one action you're going to take today to work on rebuilding your life. One action. It does not have to be something massive. It does not have to be, I don't know, completely overhaul my diet today. Nope. It can be something really small. You need Nothing happens until something moves. You need one thing. So comment below and tell me, what is one simple step you're going to take today to work on rebuilding your life? Comment below and tell me. Quote number 10. I am self-propelled, fueled from within. I appreciate people's opinions, but I'm not attached to them. I learned a long time ago that if I give them the power to feed me, I also give them the power to starve me. I saved the best quote for last. This is of all quotes, this is probably my favorite quote, and it's long, so I'm going to have to read it. But it's by Dr. Steve Maraboli, and you just saw it, but let me put it to words again. I am self-propelled, fueled from within. I appreciate people's opinions, but I'm not attached to them. I learned a long time ago that if I give them the power to feed me, I also give them the power to starve me. Just put it on a Post-it note. You are going to need this quote. The other one that mirrors this one that I love is by Lecrae. And Lecrae said, if you live for people's praise, you will die from their rejection. If you live for people's praise, you will die from their rejection. And here's the bottom line of this, and this is why this quote will inspire you to rebuild your life, because you cannot build your life based on getting other people's approval. You will actually end up destroying your life by doing that. And so at the end of the day, this quote, the Steve Maraboli quote and the Lecrae quote, they are going to remind you that while we all want approval, needing it should never be an option in your life. And as you rebuild your life, don't go to people and expect them to be on the committee of whether or not you can rebuild your life this way or no, give up the need for their approval. You might want their approval. You might love their approval because it's human to like to be approved of. But there comes a moment where you say to yourself, I learned a long time ago that if I give them the power to feed me, I also give them the power to starve me. Don't ever give people that kind of power, because then you actually aren't the one rebuilding your life. They are. They're getting more of a say and control over what you do to rebuild your life than you are. And that can't happen. That cannot happen. So remember, if you live for people's praise, you will die from their rejection. Can't have that. Can't have that. There you have it, 10 quotes that will inspire you to rebuild your life. Write them down, put them on Post-it notes, use them as daily affirmations. Keep them in front of you at all times. They will really ground you in what it takes to rebuild your life. And you know what? If you're struggling with this idea of getting to the life you want, if you have a vision for the life you want, but you don't know how to get there, you don't know what next steps to take, or maybe you're taking some steps, but you feel like everything is taking forever to get there, I want you to go to CassandraVaughn.com/programs and check out my 10-week Rebuild Yourself program. It is the program that is designed to teach you how to create your own Rebuild Yourself process that is customized and personalized to you, that can be used at any point in your life when you find yourself in a situation where you need to rebuild yourself. And again, this 10-week program is not about finding you a knight, giving you some blueprint that everybody uses. It's about giving you the tools necessary so that you can find a sword, your own sword, and you can use that whenever you want, however you want to rebuild your life. So go to CassandraVaughn.com/programs and check out my 10-week Rebuild Yourself program. So if this video was helpful, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Thank you for watching and have an amazing week.